Hey, welcome back, NACA World, NACA Land, to another NACA's American Dream program. And listen, get everybody in here because we are having an awesome show. We have great things planned for you today and throughout the rest of the year, next year. But listen, want to go ahead and see what's going on, Anjanette, over there in Texas. How's the weather? What was going on? How's your weekend?
It's a great day, everybody. Hey, Damien, and everybody out there in NACA land. To all my NACALodians out there, this is the American Dream Program, brought to you and powered by none other than NACA, Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, where we're bringing you the best in America's mortgage. And as always, Damien, you can always tune into our shows on our social media outlets. That's Facebook, the official NACA page, Twitter, and Instagram. But for this show, you can always reach out to us and we can address your questions live at 833-771-0500. That's 833-771-0500. And today, Damien, it is a great day to be out looking for a home on a 30-year mortgage with NACA. That's at a 2.125. And at a 15-year, we're talking about a 1.375 out there in Facebook land. Throw me up some love and some hearts because you can't beat that with a stick. That is the rate you want to be at.
All right,
Damien, I'm telling you, we got, and to be out there getting ready to look for a home, Damien, tell me who we have on this call to help us engage us through our home buying process.
We decided to do something unique here. We have real estate agents, brokers, managers across the country giving us some insight on the different regions so our people, members, clients can get an idea of what to expect. We have none other than the man himself, Jerome Washington, who's back from the Northeast. Woo-hoo.
All right, talk about the Northeast.
Yes. Then we have Moses Harry out in the Texas area.
You know we gotta represent Texas.
As a matter of fact,
we got our covered. I love it. Texas.
Actually, specifically from the Dallas area. So yeah, give Dallas and Texas.
Dallas in the house.
Dallas and Houston in the house, and we gonna throw it up and represent San Antonio too. How about that? Throw them hearts up.
And the best for last, Georgia itself, the #1 state in the country. Georgia, we have Kenneth Clark.
Everybody.
Kenneth Clark.
Hey.
Representing Georgia, the state of peach state. Come on, Kenneth. I'm loving it.
I'm glad to be here, guys. Let's get it done.
Glad to have you back.
Let's educate today.
Yes,
wow.
yes.
So if you guys just want to, you just kind of tell your market.
Yeah, let them share their markets and tell a little bit about them. We'll start with the South, work our way over across I-20 and back up to the North. Is that okay? All right,
guys.
Let's start with you, Kenneth. Tell us about your Georgia market.
Well, okay. Well, I can tell you that first, right out of the gate, limited inventory. That's still been the case here, and it's been that way for the last year or two, especially during the pandemic. What we're seeing is the average homes on the market are staying on the market anywhere between 15 and 28 days. So you better be ready to buy when you hit the market. You're not going to have a lot of time to see a whole bunch of houses because you've got to make a decision relatively quick if you want to be engaged on that particular property. Multiple offers are still in play. My agents are seeing between 5 and 15 offers on every property. The median income for the Metro Atlanta area, not the median income, but the median price point is steady going up, and we anticipate it going up next year. You're looking at above 350 for the median sales price. So I can tell you that if you're looking to buy in the Georgia market, I would not sit on the fence because I don't know that your income will increase at the rate of appreciation. And that's kind of where I am. I've been in the Atlanta market for about 8 years now with NACA, but over 20 years in real estate. So it's important that you jump in, understand where you want to live, and latch on to somebody that understands the market.
Awesome, awesome. Thank
Wow.
you, Mr. Clark. Thank
And
you.
Kenneth, just for record keeping, you did say median for the homes is 350.
350 or higher.
Okay, I do have a question for you, but we're going to keep it rolling, Damian, not to belabor anything, but I am going to come back to you with a question about
Not a problem at all.
All right.
that. Moses Terry, tell us about that Texas market. What's happening, Moses? What is happening with the market in Texas today?
Hey, everybody, welcome to the NACA radio program. My name is Moses Harry. Very much excited to be here today. And just like I'm going to piggyback up from where Kenneth stopped. The market is actually very similar. The Georgia market is actually very similar to the Texas markets. We do have very much limited inventory. Of course, the median home price here as well is anywhere between $300,000 to $350,000 as well. And yeah, if you are going to make a decision, yeah, you have to move very, very fast, because almost every property that you find probably has multiple offers. In fact, you know, most listing agents will give you about a week, you know, highest and best, highest and best, highest and best. So you have to put your best foot forward when you find that house that you are interested in. Make an offer, make the best offer that you can. And of course, I'm going to add that consider a NACA in-house real estate agent, because these are the people who knows the NACA program and also know the NACA process very well. So they know how to build that offer. They know how to construct that offer in such a way that you are going to look very good before that seller, because you may only have one chance to make that impression before that seller. Because when seller has multiple offers, they have no time to be going through and say, negotiate and renegotiate and renegotiate. They don't have time for that. So you only have one time to make an impression before that seller. So work with somebody who has knowledge of the NACA program and also knows the NACA process very well. We are going to do everything here at NACA to make sure that we work for your best interest, to put you in a house that you can afford, but you also have to do your own part. Do your work, do your homework as you are going through the process, or even before you go through the process. There's a program here at NACA we call the community shopping. What is community shopping? Make sure that you are familiar with the community that you want to buy a house. You know, drive around, you know, take a moment on weekends, go and see what is going on in that neighborhood. Try to know something about the schools, know a little bit about the crime report in that location, so that by the time you get qualified, you are ready to move. You are ready to go. Not to after you get qualified, then you want to, you know, you are not sure where you want to stay, et cetera, et cetera. So, but once you have been able to nail down the area, and I would like to add that, maybe look at several areas. If your first choice does not work best for you, you can, you know, consider going to your second choice and even to your third choice, because of the way the prices of homes are going up at this time. So again, stay with NACA. We're going to do everything we can to get you into that home. Home prices are constantly going up. I pray, believe me, Kenneth has been in this business for about 20 years. I have been in this business for a little over 20 years. 20 years ago, we used to have a house for $100,000. $100,000. You can get a house, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Today, I'm not even sure that exists. You know, I'm not sure that kind of market exists. So, so these are some of the information that you should know. One last thing that I would like to add is this. As you are going through the qualification process, I know that everybody has access to some kind of a real estate platform, Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, etc. Everybody's looking at houses in those platforms, and that is good. Utilize them, make use of those tools, but do not rely on the information that you see on those platforms to make decisions. Because often, a lot of times, the information you have on those platforms are either obsolete, they are wrong, We don't even know where they got the information from, what interest rate was used to calculate those information. So while those tools are valuable to you to utilize at this point, but rely on your mortgage counselor and your real estate agents to be able to guide you and do the best to get you to that closing table. Thank you.
Love
Wow.
that information.
Thank you.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
And Moses, you tapped into something I wanted to do, and that's make sure your years of service. I heard you say you have 20 plus years as an agent. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then Kenneth has 20 plus years as an agent. So already we have 40 years combined of real
Wow.
estate history here on this call. So ladies and gentlemen, you know, it just goes to show you what NACA puts into and what caliber of real estate agents and brokers we have embedded into the company. And moving on up the East Coast. Let's see how Jerome has it available to own your home. Jerome?
Yes, thank you. So Jerome Washington, I cover the Northeast region. Basically, we have teams in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, and we are busy out here. Last 10 days, 7 NACA families are now under contract. So we're pushing, we're out here showing properties. It's very competitive, but we're winning with a NACA mortgage. We know how to do it. We know how to get everybody in position to win. And, you know, it's busy out here, but people are saving up their assets, making it a little bit easier to buy houses if you have to go over ask and guarantee appraised values. But the main thing is the magic happens when you get under contract out here, when you decide to look at houses within your affordability. When that happens, that's when the magic happens and we can get under contract and start seeing a handful of houses. But yes, the market is busy out here. And just to add to the years of experience, I have 16 years real estate experience. So it's a lot.
That is a
A lot
lot.
of experience on this call.
That
So,
is.
but
Wow.
definitely we're busy up here helping families, and listing agents are receptive to the NACA program and working with us. So
Absolutely. Thank you, Jerome. So
Awesome.
we're talking about 56 plus years, 50 plus years of service right here in the industry, in the business, doing what they know to do best. And that's figure out a way to get you into your dream home right here at NACA. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is the American Dream Program, where we're talking to real estate agents and brokers that are in-house agents, dedicated and geared just to help you find your home. Not just find you any home, but the home that's functional, the home that's affordable, the home that is right for you. And we brought these agents on because we want to talk about the changing market conditions. So please don't forget to hit us up at 833-771-0500. That's 833-771-0500. Jerome, Moses, and Kenneth, we've already got some calls coming in. So can I take it away and just share them with you? But before I do, Damien, do you have anything?
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody knows that these leaders here, not only are they great, but they're making sure that their teams are great to help you as well.
Good point.
So
Good
so we
point.
just want to make sure that they have awesome teams that are mirror images of them that's going to help you get to the finish line.
Absolutely, because they are the brokers and they have teams. That is exactly right. And they're all three of these brokers are hiring in your region. So if you're in Texas, Moses Harry is hiring in his region. Jerome Washington up in the Northeast, he's hiring in his region. And our beloved Kenneth Clark in the Georgia area is hiring in his region. So
Always.
please hit us up. Reach out to us on www.naca.com under careers and look for that in-house real estate agent. So with that,
Awesome.
Damien, did I miss anything?
No, you told them where to get hired, where to go, and who the people to know to get the job done. These three right here are the men.
Yeah. One of the things I want to point out before we get to the questions, because I see another question coming in. And before I add that one to our chat line, I want to make sure people know that our real estate agents are more than just your broker. They're more than just your agent. They have their footprint in the grassroots of the community. So they're going to know where to go, where not to go. They're going to talk about the school districts. They're going to know these areas because they're just not out here looking for a house. They are active. You know, part of being part of NACA is being active in the communities for which we serve. So when you look at Jerome and Kenneth and Moses, they're just not your real estate agent. They are active in the NACA community and in the community for which you live. So that's the person I want to help me find a home. Someone who's out there living in the community, driving around at night and helping me look for the desired neighborhood that I want to live in. So I just wanted to point that out, and I'll put that next question up. But the first question is from Celia. Celia is saying she would like to discuss her qualification amount of $220,000. And I think Celia is probably saying that because we've been talking about the median income, the median house ranges and things like that. So if 350 is where the sweet spot is, and I'm approved for 180, or in Celia's case, 220, Kenneth, Jerome, Moses, what am I supposed to do? Does this mean I'm not going to be able to find a house in my price range? What happens?
Well, let me help you with that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Kenneth, go ahead.
All right. Well, when we talk about median incomes, that's just the middle number. There's a high number, a low number, and then the middle number. There are still homes below the median income. But the lower you get away from that number, the further you get away from that number on the downside, typically there's more repairs that need to be done to that property. There's some type of issue, right? So as long as you have the clarity and the understanding of where you want to live and buy in a market that you can afford, like Jerome said, we can do renovation to help you bring the property up to speed. If you like the neighborhood, I'll say this. You can change the inside of a home, but you can't change the neighborhood. So what you should focus on truly is finding the right neighborhood, and we can turn the house into anything you want it to be, as long as you qualify for the mortgage. So that's what's important on this side. Moses?
I just wanted to say amen to what Kenneth have just said, and I will not have been able to say it better. So yeah, definitely. Is there a house for the price range of 220? Yes, there's a house out there. You can find something out there, but it's going to depend on the location. Location, you probably have heard about this in real estate. Location. So you will be able to find something within that $220,000 price range. That's what we said. Community shopping. Start your community shopping now, not after you get qualified. Begin to look around in the areas that you will be interested in. Begin to look around in the neighborhoods that you would like to live. And if you cannot find a house for $220,000 in that location of your first choice, maybe we'll look at something, your second choice, etc. But can you find something? Yes, you can. It's all going to depend on the location that you want to live in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, with that
Jerome
being
has
said,
something to say.
go ahead, Jerome.
I want to add to that too. What number you have, it's all about mindset. And basically when you're shopping, for one, you have to get rid of that 220 in your head, because NACA goes by the monthly payment amount. So $220,000 house in one town is a different monthly payment in another. So you might be able to maximize your affordability by just looking at your monthly payment and seeing what counties, what areas have low enough taxes to go beyond 220, which might seem like houses at 220 are a certain tax amount. You find lower taxes than that. So you have to shop around, as everybody's talking about community shopping. But first, just try to see what area, works for you, where you can maximize your monthly payment. So that's the only thing, I'd like to add that, everyone else was saying.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Single in.
When we do think
about building relationships, even professionally, it comes from consistent delivery on promises and effort.
It is kind of like an insert, almost like a peekaboo, like, what would my life be like with this person?
Yeah.
You know, like.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, you know, like.
Besides sex and in the sight of God and taking vows in front of all those that you love, what's the point of getting married?
Have a great night. This is Single in the City. We'll see you next week.
If you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
We grew up with those kind of thoughts and sayings like, oh, Lord, I don't want to take all of God's glory. Honey, who do you think you are? You can take God's glory. You haven't done anything. When was the last time you made a sun rise or a tide go in or out, or you set the stars in its place? So we can't take God's glory.
I was concerned if you was going to preach us tonight. You preaching us. You preaching us.
Perfect. Damien, you had something?
I was just saying, as Moses was pointing out about the location, that's very important, but sometimes there may not be houses where you're wanting to move. So also being open to looking at other locations to be able to maximize your affordability. And the things that Kenneth and all of them talk about is that, this is not your forever home. This is many times your first home. So don't look at it like that. Look at it with the open mark that I may move here, but I'll be able to move here later once it praises for more value, I get more money, and I'm doing other things. So don't get caught up in that.
Let me just add something. Let me just add something to what Damien have just said. That's very, very important, because if this is going to be a first home is moving away from the rental market to home ownership. That's basically what you're doing. You are moving from paying somebody to actually paying yourself. Because when you own a mortgage, especially a NACA mortgage, you are actually paying yourself. Okay? Because at the end of the year, you are going to get a tax write-off on the mortgages that you pay, et cetera, et cetera. So your first home is actually moving away from paying rent to somebody to actually making a mortgage payment and paying yourself. Once you get used to doing all of that, being responsible for repairs, being responsible for paying your taxes, your insurance, etc. After a number of years, hopefully you have built up some equity on that house. You can sell that house. Of course, the NACA requirements say you have to be in the house for at least, 5 years? After 5 years, you can sell that house, take your equity. Now you are moving into your dream home of the 4-bedroom, with media room and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to join everybody to say it's all about a mindset. Let there be a mindset that this is my first home. I want to move away from paying rent to somebody to paying myself. I'm going to build up my wealth, and I'm going to take this wealth I've created and move into my dream home. If you can create that mindset, sometimes that makes all the changes in the world.
Love it. And I love that conversation when you talk about generational wealth. That is generational. Owning a home is generational wealth. That is best. So now you speak in my language, but I'm not going to get on that soapbox today. And for the sake of time, I'm going to teeter back and forth because we got calls coming in and we have our Facebook engagement as well. So I'm going to go back and forth. We took our first call. So now I'm going to head out into our Facebook land. So throwing some hearts up for T. Anderson, who is saying, if I'm looking for a more specific home, one level, what happens if I don't find one within 6 months? I've been pursuing local inventory. They are difficult to find. Do we have some advice for T. Anderson, who's looking for a 1 level and she's approaching her 6 months? What's going to happen after that 6 months, and where should she be focusing?
I'm curious to know what market she's in as well.
Yeah.
You know,
T,
but
if you can let us know what market you're looking for, we can help you out more specifically. But if she's looking for something in any one of you guys' areas, what would be your advice?
Well, specifically, what I would say is, number one, your qualification letter lasts for 6 months. And I would say this to you. I would not buy a house under duress. Okay. Don't let that 6 months control what you're going to do. There are other factors that would force you to try to move faster, like home appreciation, all those other things. But if your situation hasn't changed financially, if your credit hasn't changed, if your income's gone up, if your assets, you're saving money, that 6 months it's just going to be rudimentary to get your qualification letter back again. Okay. And if your requirements are to have a 1 level home, then you just got to wait for that to happen on the market. Other solutions would be, you know, if you find a 2-story where there's got a straight staircase, you might be able to get a lift, you know, installed in the home so that you can live upstairs as well. So those are options for you as it relates to, you know, finding a home that you be happy in. So.
Perfect.
I do have a comment to make about just so everyone can know. We talked about this, I don't know if you remember, Internet, one of our last shows or previous shows, where don't wait till your 6 months. Go ahead in the 5th month and reach out to your mortgage counselor so that you can get that extension, because they're busy, their calendars are full. So you want to make sure you have ample enough time to now get that extended for the next 6 months. So
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Don't wait to get to redo your file, and keep your file updated. If it was me, every 30 days, I'd be updating my file just for cases of this nature. And thank you, T. Jerome, she lives in the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
Actually, yeah, that is part of the mortgage requirement. You need to be updating your files, you know, with every time you receive a new pay stub, every time you get a new bank statement, every time you have a new credit card statement, etc. You continue to upload that information so that you can keep the web file updated. So in the event that you are running out for that 6 months timeline, you can get requalified again, provided that nothing have changed, provided that you have not gone to get a new car, you know, you've not quit your job, you know, none of those major situations has arisen, you will get qualified again for either the same amount or maybe even higher. But
Moses,
as long as you're keeping
you talking some good stuff now, Moses. You better not go out and get no new car, new refrigerator, get them rims on your tires and all of that, and you out there looking for a house. That's a NACA no. If you out there looking for a house, you better not go out there and get it. I know they had them Black Friday sales and all that furniture was buy a room, get a room free. Let that room go till you get a house to put the room in, okay? Don't do it. But for Charlotte, North Carolina, Jerome, what are you saying about that? Or is that closer to you, Kenneth?
It's closer to me, and I think their market is similar to ours here in Atlanta. How can
you work that out?
Well, you know, we don't create the inventory. Maybe if there's an adjustment she could make, or move further out into the suburbs, the further you go away from the metropolitan area, generally the price points get better. So I would say expand your scope of viewing, and that might open up some you know, ranches that might fit your budget.
So Kenneth, is this one of the areas, one of the situations where, you know, she thought she could live in Mecklenburg County or a certain county and she may have to venture out, or thought she could live in the city limits and may have to venture out into the county or even start exploring a different county?
Yes.
Okay.
That is one of those situations. And I'll be honest with you, our biggest challenge as real estate agents and brokers is that you get through the qualification process and then find out what's happening in the market.
Wow.
We think that should actually be done differently. The quicker you can figure out what kind of payment you need to buy the house in the area you want to buy it in, you need to take that with you when you're going to get qualified.
Right.
So that you can have a conversation with your mortgage counselor about what it's going to take for you to buy where you want to live.
Right.
That's
All
really
right.
important.
Good information. Next question, and this is coming from our call line, is like, she's saying what, and I did reach out. She must have heard you guys talking about specifically where she needs to live because she's called back. What if there is not a good agent where I live? She called back and said she lives in Tennessee. So we got a caller that called in and said she doesn't have a good agent where she lives. So she lives in Tennessee, and 9 times out of 10, I think her zip code is a Nashville zip code. So it's not Memphis. We do have an office in Memphis. Any advice on what she can do to find a good agent in Nashville?
Absolutely. I would reach out to the RED department, that's the real estate department at NACA, and see if we have a referral agent that works in that area that understands the NACA program.
Okay. And for the young lady that called in with the Nashville zip code, Nashville area code, excuse me, definitely reach out to our RED department, and you can always contact us at 425-602-6222 for more information. That's 425-602-6222 for more information. Moving right on into our Facebook question. I'm trying to keep up, y'all, because they're coming. You guys got some good information to share, and they're loving these nuggets here. You mentioned community shopping. Someone in Facebook land says, what is community shopping?
Wow, that's I know everybody got a little input on that. Well, first I want to mention that NACA is going to have going forward in 2022, I believe Robert Torres is going to have more community shopping webinars that like we used to have before. But I'll just touch a little bit on it. I'll let everyone else expand. But community shopping is the most efficient way to find a home. It's knowing before you go, and it's shopping within your affordability in an area that you're ready to shop in because you've done your due diligence on the crime, the school districts, the transportation. So community shopping, that's what I summarize it as, and I'll leave it to everyone else to add to it.
I think basically that's what it is. Just knowing before, knowing before doing it, go around, try to check out the communities that you would like to live, get a pretty good idea of what the prices of homes are going for in those areas. So as you go to meet with your mortgage or housing consultant, you can have those discussions with them. So yeah, basically that's what community shopping is all about, knowing the neighborhood that you want to live before you go.
And I will add to what you gentlemen have said, but I will share this with you. It's really, really, really important. I can't express to you how important it is to understand where it is you want to live, because you're not going to have a chance to think about it. If another buyer has done their community shopping and understands the neighborhood they want to live in, and you haven't done that homework, that's going to be considered a paralysis for you.
Yep.
You're not going to pull the trigger as quick because you like the house, but you have no idea what's going on in that area. And that's a huge decision. And all of us and our agents, at the end of the day, we're going home after we sell you that house. And we want you to be happy about your neighborhood, its amenities, and the things you're going to have to enjoy living in that home. So community shopping is imperative that you get done. And remember, it's a 30-year commitment. So you need to spend time in those communities.
Can I give a couple of websites too that are extremely helpful? I just put it in our chat among ourselves, but I think the people really need to know, a lot of times safety is a concern. You can check where you just live right now by checking spotcrime.com, and it's going to tell you, burglaries, whatever, assaults, whatever it is, just in your general area. So if you're trying to see where you want to be comfortable at, and niche.com, NICHE.com, that's another website, helps you understand the diversity, the school districts, and it really helps you research an area so that you're comfortable. So those two sites, I really let people, especially people aren't familiar where they want to shop at, and they're trying a new area, I give them those sites to check out.
I agree 100%. I'll add to this on the spot crime. Before you put another address in the spot crime, put your own. That way you'll get a baseline of how you're currently living. So when you put that new address where you're trying to move to that new neighborhood, you can have a benchmark as to what to compare it to, because there's crime everywhere.
Excellent information. Excellent information. That's good. Yes.
I have a
Spot crime,
question.
everybody, spotcrime.com. Go
I have
ahead,
a
Damien.
question for you guys. If you have a member that every house that they find that they like is at the top of their budget, and so therefore if they're at the top of their budget, they're not able to be competitive because they're not really able to offer more. What would you tell members? Because they say every house, if it's lower, I don't like it. What would you suggest? What would you tell them?
What would you tell them, Moses?
Well, basically, if first of all, your agent ought to work with you to make sure that you are not looking at houses on top of the budget at all times. But if you happen to find yourself in that kind of situation, you need to go back and have a discussion with your real estate agent. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? Can we restructure the offer differently? But there are some few things that you can put in place. Maybe look at the offer, take out some of the things that you are putting in there. Add some things to it that will make it will make the contract looks good or make it look sweeter, as the case may be. And if you're lucky, sometimes you may have the opportunity for a seller to accept your offer, but on top of all of that, one of the things that is required in this thing is patience. You need to exercise a great level of patience as you go through the process.
I want to add a couple of things too. Caution, because if you're at the top of your affordability, if the interest rates go the wrong direction, that could knock you out after you get under contract and you're in credit access and NACA. That could, especially if you don't have the assets to buy down the interest to help. A lot of times people are at the top of their affordability and the perfect scenarios have to happen. You got to have a great insurance quote. You got to have an appraised value. If that property don't appraise and the seller's banking on, that property selling at a certain number, the deal might not go through as well, especially if you're trying to get assist with that. So a lot of things happen and you could get into a transaction and win it and not possibly be able to complete it. So I always tell everybody that shopping at the top of your affordability is tough. You should be able to use the best feature about the NACA program, the interest rate buy down, as icing on the cake. That just makes the deal sweeter. And then you have flexibility no matter what happens during the transaction, that you're within your affordability. Repairs might come up. You got to roll repairs in. So there's a lot of scenarios that go against shopping at the top of your affordability.
Right.
Tell you this, I get asked this question a lot. And the reality is, I don't think it's a good move to shop at your maximum. First, you need to have room in the event that there's a repair that needs to be done. You need to be able to roll that cost into your loan if the seller decides he doesn't want to make that repair. You need to make sure that you can compete. And when we talk about competing, in this market we're in, you're having to offer $10,000, $20,000, $25,000 more than the list price sometimes. And if you're already at your max, you can't do that. And if a seller has listed his home for less than what it'll probably appraise for, and you need to bid higher, you can't go there. So I think getting with a talented real estate agent that can share with you the best practices in their particular market, you would benefit from greatly.
Wow.
Indeed.
This is very, very helpful. I love this information. And we are getting questions. We are at the midway point, everybody. And again, for those of you who are just tuning in, you have tuned into NACA's American Dream program, where we have we have our real estate agents and brokers here on the line. We have Kenneth Clark in Georgia. We have Jerome Washington in our Northeast division, and we have Moses Harry that's handling our Texas arena. So, bring your questions, anything you want to ask, like us, love us, do what you want to do with us, but we are here for you to answer your questions. And we do have another question, Jerome. This one is coming all the way from New Jersey. And it is John who is saying how much I have to be. I guess he's asking how much he has to be at. His income is at the minimum in the New Jersey area. So what will his shopping look like as far as housing is concerned?
I see what he means by minimum and where is he shopping, because North Jersey and South Jersey is drastic different markets. So depending on his income, I'll tell you this much: the further south you go, the more affordable the homes are. So I hope he's in the more southern part if he's at the minimum of income, because then you're going to find a better selection of homes. A lot of times I work with families that are under 1,100 monthly payment, and 1,100 monthly payment or under, maybe down to say 800. That works out great in Cumberland County in New Jersey, Millville, New Jersey. It's a great selection of homes out there. I've had a few buyers I closed over there recently, and so one thing he's going to have to do is find what area is best for him to shop in. And most likely your monthly payment amount leads you to where you want to buy a house. Regardless of what you want, that monthly payment amount is going to drive you. As long as you're within distance of work, you have to figure that out. So that would be the advice I would have for him.
Today, we're talking about caregiving and self-care.
My heart goes out to caregivers. When she was caregiving for her mom, she didn't take care of herself. And unfortunately, a year after I met her, she died because she didn't have the same type of care that she provided her mom and that she showed me how to provide to my father. You have to take care of yourself. I heard someone say that caring for someone who once cared for you is one of the highest honors you can give.
I love that. I think about my parents and they raised me, like you said, and now we help them.
You budget, you pay bills.
Yet somehow women like you, like me,
are 80% more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So here's what we're gonna do now. We're going to save ourselves by setting a goal to save 2% more of our income for our retirement.
Why 2?
1% honors you.
And 1% honors all womankind.
So come on, learn more about the 2% challenge at WeSaySaveIt.org.
What type of encouragement or something you would tell single people dating?
Social media is not permanent. Social media is artificial. Learn how to be yourself with a person. Be honest
and know your worth. And I will say this: quit valuing yourself like a Rolls Royce, but you showing hoopty mentality. You parading around like a hoopty. Because real men, somebody worth something, we not looking to take a hoopty home.
I have a caller that called back in and make sure I asked her realtor.com question. And I'm sorry, I guess I must have missed it. There was a realtor.com question, and I believe Moses already handled this one, but she's saying realtor.com gave me a purchase price different from NACA. How is that possible? Well, Moses already said not to depend on realtor.com and Zillow to get your purchase price. But guys, do you get that a lot, that they go on Zillow and realtor.com and they say that this should be my monthly payment, but NACA's saying something different? Do you ever see that in the industry?
Well, it happens. Yeah, it happens a lot. It happens a lot. As a matter of fact, I will add that I'm not sure what information was provided to her in that platform, but NACA qualifies you for a monthly payment amount and not a mortgage amount. So if you go to realtor.com, chances are what you're going to be seeing there is you will see a mortgage amount, and they will tell you this is what your monthly payment will be, etc. That information, most of the time, that information is wrong. And so NACA will qualify you for a monthly amount. So you take that monthly amount and convert that into a mortgage amount, which will include what we call your PITI, your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, etc. So once you put all that together, it will give you a mortgage amount, and that is what you shop on. That's what you go out there and start looking for a house on. So again, as I said, I really sometimes tell people don't even look at that site if possible, because information to me is quite misleading, especially if you're going through the NACA program.
Right. Jerome?
Yeah, I was going to add too, a lot of that information, we have access to the major MLS systems, and the major MLS systems feed out everything to Zillow, Redfin. They feed off of what we're looking at. And also we have the direct contacts of a lot of agents. An agent I spoke to this morning declined my showing because the property's under contract. My client saw it on Zillow. He's like, but it says it's available. And on top of that, on Redfin, especially, a lot of these sites, they have an opportunity for you to see a house. So you could tell a client that home is no longer available, no showings are available at a certain time. They can go on Redfin and get a showing anytime because a random agent's going to go there. And that's a conflict. And that's what people have to understand. They may think something's available, but all these things online are just pulling everybody in to work with some agent. But you want to get the top accurate information, you got to trust and turn to your agent.
And again, I don't want to jump over on Ken because I want to get Kenneth's opinion on this too. But you don't want just anybody that's just looking for a sales, what do you call it? A cold call, or, pulling Salesforce and just saying, hey, this is somebody that came across the system. Let me go take care of them, because I haven't formed that relationship with you. We learned on the last show that the relationship that our members have with our real estate agents, our agents, is a serious relationship. It's one that they have to have a level of trust to know that you're out there advocating and doing the best thing possible for them. I just think that's really important. I wouldn't want any agent just calling me. Damien, I'm sorry, go ahead. And then
I was just saying also, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but when they have those amounts on there, that doesn't include, that's usually the principal and interest. It doesn't include the taxes, insurance, and or HOA, which NACA includes all of that to make sure it's affordable in your monthly payment. So guys, be careful about that. And correct me if I'm wrong, when you go out there looking, you ain't thought about those other two things that can significantly raise that amount.
Let me tell you, I just looked
especially in Texas, Moses.
Yes, I just looked at the property this past Saturday on Zillow. They were saying on Zillow that the property taxes on that house was $348 monthly payment a month. When I went to the appraisal districts, pull all the information, all the taxing district information together, and multiply that by the sales price of the house and came up with the taxes, that taxes is actually $580 a month. That's $200 difference.
Yep.
So if somebody have relied on information there that this taxes is $300 and you want to make an offer on that house, you have already been thrown out of your qualification. Right. That is why I agree with what Jerome said. You must trust your real estate agent, have relationship with them so that they will be able to give you the most up-to-date information on what is happening to that property, the taxes, and information like that.
Wow.
Kenneth, did you have anything on that topic? Or
well, these guys so eloquently put it, and I am in total agreement with what they've said. And what I'll share with you is that, number one, trust your real estate agent and make sure you've got a talented one. Number two, the information, the way it's presented on Zillow and Realtor.com could include mortgage insurance. It could include not the HOA. Mm-hmm. And I think that when going through our program, we have a proprietary calculator that is much more accurate than what you could use just on a general website. because we don't speak to the masses. We speak to our community, our membership. And if you want to dial down to what your qualification is allowing you to buy, I would use the NACA calculator, and I would get with an agent that understands that calculator to walk you through it.
And it's on our website at www.naca.com. That calculator is right there.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
You go to home buyers and it's the second drop down. It should say
Correct.
mortgage calculator.
That's correct.
Right there for you. We got all the tools you need. So moving on, because I know we're crunched for time here, but the questions keep coming.
As
And
always.
thank you guys. Thank you guys for all these great questions. We have Antoinette that's asking about a short sale. Antoinette is saying, if you have a short sale, how long do you need to wait to purchase again? I'm trying to understand her question.
How long do you have to wait to do what?
To purchase again. I guess she had a short sale and maybe her property did a short sale, and this is something that maybe on a credit, you know, those short sales do tend to impact your credit. But I know with NACA, we're not credit score driven. So I know she can come back through the program if that's what your question is. Do you guys
That's a
have
mortgage
anything
related. That's a
on that?
mortgage related question, but I believe it's 2 years from the sale.
Okay.
Confirm
So
that with
now-
your mortgage counselor. So if you had a short
Right.
sale and you now want to go and buy a home, it's probably going to be 2 years from the time of that sale.
So still come through the NACA program because your counselor can better address those questions that you have. And so your time is well spent because the questions that you gain from our workshops, from our home buyer workshops is priceless. The information that you gain from the workshops is simply priceless. So we have Necia. Necia is saying how to figure out what amount you can afford in order to community shop. But when you go community shopping and things like that, you've already been qualified. Or Jerome, Kenneth, do you have any tips for her?
I would say they definitely can start by looking at what you pay in rent, because a lot of mortgage counselors qualify you for that. Then we can get into payment shock and everything else. But if you at least have that conversation with your mortgage counselor, what's your affordability? They see that right now. And if they got to save money above the rent. So the best thing to do is find out what you're paying, you know, monthly in rent, and then try and get a home search set up that's within those boundaries, sale price and taxes. And then you can kind of see at that sale price and these taxes, this is what your monthly rent payment is. If you want more, you might have to save and do payment shock, and then you can see how much further you can go up.
That's absolutely right, Jerome. I actually go a little step further with my agents, and I try to prep them without qualifying people. They understand what housing ratios are. They understand what debt ratios are. They understand the limitations of qualification. So if you can get with one of our agents up front, they can give you a really good idea of qualification affordability based on the information you provide. And it's not, you know, it's not concrete, but it's a good ballpark, just like Jerome indicated. And yes, start with rent.
Yeah, that's an excellent. Yeah, that's a very excellent point, and I was just thinking in that direction as well. So for the benchmark, of course, NACA will qualify you for your monthly payment. So, but if you want to go above that, you know, you have to be able to have some understanding of how the housing ratio works. Of course, it's going to be your monthly income, maybe 31. You know, the maximum I think NACA will go is about 32% of your monthly income. And of course 40% of your total debt. So if you take about 30 or 32% of your monthly income, that will give you some idea. Of course, that's assuming that you don't have any other debt. It will give you an idea of how much house that you can qualify. You now take that into your monthly payment to see whether there is any payment shock that you have to need to save, and things of that nature. So yeah, just take your monthly income, take your about 32% of your monthly income. That gives you some level of baseline to work with.
Good information, good information. We're bringing it to the NACA Nation here. All of this good information. Thank you, gentlemen. So we're moving to one of our call-ins, and she is saying, if I am at the top of my if I am at the top of my qualification amount, why should I have to pay for a required repair? They keep telling me it's required and must be done in order to purchase. And I want to say you guys was touching on repairs and things the do's and don'ts. And one of the things you just said is don't be at the top of your qualification, because in the event that there is a repair, these things can happen. But she's saying a required repair, and I'm assuming maybe that's safety. Am I assuming wrong? Because that's something that would be required.
Safety repair is a required repair from a hand department perspective, and could be code, could be structural, could be health, and a number of items. But the being at your maximum doesn't allow you or afford you to have the flexibility to go above your higher qualification if the seller doesn't want to give you money, as Jerome would call it, seller assist, to help you with that repair. In this market, a lot of sellers are just saying, you know what, I'm not going to fix it. I think I'm giving you a pretty good deal on my house.
Wow.
And if they're not going to fix it and you're at your maximum, that deal's going to die.
Yes. And I want to add, you have to work with your agent to get through the required repairs. They have to figure out a way to make sure that the seller knows to pay it. Like, for instance, maybe the seller has to buy another house. If they have to buy another house, they might have to really help if they have the room in the budget. So you have to figure out what way you can get that taken care of, even though you may not want to do it. But you have to more explain to the seller side to try and get that required repair done, especially if you cannot absorb it in your loan, or else the deal could die. So definitely lean on your agent. All this is about trusting your agent and someone advocating for you to get you through the program.
Well said.
Yeah, one last thing I'm going to like to add to that is, if you are shopping at the top of your budget, maybe it's a good idea to look at properties that may not require a lot of required repairs, because you can go into the property, you can walk around that property, you can look at the property, and you will be able to figure out if this property is going to require significant amount of repairs. So if you're shopping at the top of your budget, maybe that's something that you need to take into consideration, as far as when you go out there to start looking at the house.
Right. And this is real concerning. So they are running a risk of actually losing the deal because they have no flexibility. This is a 702 area code, excuse me. So that's what, Nevada? That's a Nevada area code. So hopefully we're able to help them. We have an agent out. We have in-house agents out there in that area. So please, 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 I hope you're working with a NACA in-house agent on this situation. This is good information. Moving right along. Okay, this is an interesting one. How can I purchase in Iowa? I want to move from, and believe it or not, I know this, MSP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I want to move from Minneapolis, St. Paul to Davenport. So they want to move from Minneapolis, Minnesota to Davenport, Iowa. Can they do this? And if so, how?
I don't know the geo. I'm not really clear on the geo. Moses, can you?
They're moving from one state to another. They're leaving Minnesota.
I was just going to add that I'm sure they can. I don't know if there is a NACA office in Davenport or not, but if there's none, then they should look for the one that is closest to that location. Contact somebody in that office, maybe the mortgage consultant in that office, and they'll be able to direct them exactly what they need to be doing. But if they have an office there, then it's even better.
And even on top of that, y'all, if that person is moving to a whole nother state, they got to show their employment. So if their employment's not going to be remote or something like that, or they don't got employment set up, that might not happen.
Exactly. Good point. Yeah, very good point. Because they have to be in that new location for 6 months.
That's correct. That's correct.
They have to be there for 6 months before they can purchase in that new location, rather. So I think that's a very, very excellent point that they need to know.
So if you're moving to another state, plan on renting for a while to get your feet settled and understand the market, because your qualification, they're going to have you stay there for 6 months.
And we had our regionals, Kenneth, we had our regionals on a couple of calls ago. We a few shows ago, we had our region. This question keeps coming up, and they always want to know, and I get it, because life happens and things happen. And so a lot of these situations could be case by case. Sometimes you may have an elderly person that you now are moving back home to take care of. That happens as we get older and our parents need a little bit closer touch and care. So you move back to what you know as home, and you want that special consideration. But again, your job could be changing or something happens and you want to move to a new area. And I remember Diego specifically saying they want you to understand the area for which you're moving to. Again, this goes into your community shopping. You don't even know what community you're moving into because you're going in cold and you may not like it. Now you are responsible for this whole house in a community and an area which you don't know. So all of these things play a factor or play a part in that critical decision. Does that make sense? Or
it does. You're on point.
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. Yeah.
So the young lady or the gentleman that reached out by phone about the Minneapolis to the Minnesota to Iowa, it's a case by case basis. Still go through the program. It sounds like you're going to start in our Minneapolis office. Let them get you started and see where you're going and what you're doing, because I know it would be challenging for me. And we all want to move home sometimes. Sometimes we want to move back home, and we got those different circumstances. Sometimes we done got into a relationship. We trying to run like fast, like I don't know what to get away from him. And we just ready to get a whole state between us, like, So for whatever the reason is, we don't know, but work with your closest office and your counselor is going to guide you. Damien, can you believe this clock on the wall?
It happens every time when we have good information, and we always do. You'll never have enough time.
We never have enough time, but you know what? That happens when they say all good things must come to an end, but you never have to know when. So guess what? It's gonna be over for a limited time only, because we'll be back here next week, same time, same channel, and you can always tune into this NACA station for more of what you love to get, and that's the real deal. Real information, good information, news that you can truly use for your personal gain. Damien, I cannot believe it. Guys, we've had an awesome show with Kenneth Clark, Jerome Washington, and our very own Texas Moses Howdy that's coming in, and they gave us their very best. Guys, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you.
You're doing an awesome job. You and Damien.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for inviting us. Appreciate it.
Yes, and we might have to have them back, because I got 3 more questions that just came in. So, apparently we're hitting on some things that is really news that they can use. So what do you say about 2022 getting them back?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And also, guys, if you still have questions to ask, 833-771-0500 to continue to ask those questions, so that when they come back in 2022, we'll already have them prepped and ready for these questions that they'll have. So yeah, definitely. Guys, we appreciate it. And we thank you out there in NACA-land. I mean, we just don't have enough time. An hour is not enough, but we appreciate it. We never have enough
time, but that's because we're the best at what we do. We have the best on here. And as always, thank you out there in NACA-land. We are in the midst of a pandemic, so reminding you, you need to stay masked up for your safety and the safety of others. So do yourself a favor, mask up out there. And as always, you can find us on all of the social media channels. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Like us, love us, do what you want to do with us, because we're there for you, and always at www.naca.com. Think it through. There it is. See you soon, NACA.
Awesome. Stay masked up.
Take care, guys.
Bye.